Here's what she feels when you're gone. Not what she says, what she feels. And if you don't understand this, you'll keep losing. You'll keep wondering why she left, why she stopped caring, why she moved on so fast. So listen carefully. Before we continue, subscribe to this channel because most men will never hear this, and you're not most men. Hit that button now. Let's begin. When you walk away from a woman, something shifts. Not immediately, but it happens. She doesn't panic right away. She doesn't chase you down the street. That's not how it works. At first, there's silence, a quiet space where you used to be. And in that space, she tells herself she's fine. She convinces herself she doesn't need you. She'll say it out loud to her friends, to her family, to herself in the mirror. But beneath that surface, something else is brewing, a feeling she can't quite name. It's not loss yet. It's not longing yet. It's confusion because you were there and now you're not. And she didn't expect that. Most men think absence makes her miss you. That's only half the truth. Absence does something deeper. It removes your presence from her emotional ecosystem. And when that happens, she has to rebuild. She has to fill that space with something. Sometimes it's anger, sometimes it's indifference, sometimes it's curiosity about what you're doing. But here's the key. She doesn't sit around waiting. Not if she has options. Not if she has self-respect. Not if she's the kind of woman you actually wanted. Because high V value women don't orbit around men who disappear. They adjust. They adapt. They move forward. And that's where most men get it wrong. They think their absence will make her desperate, that she'll come crawling back, that she'll realize what she lost. But that only works if you were actually valuable. If you were just there, occupying space, filling time, giving attention without purpose, your absence doesn't create a void. It creates relief. Let that sink in. If you weren't adding real value, she feels lighter without you. Not heavier, not emptier, lighter. Because you were a weight she didn't realize she was carrying. Now, let's talk about what happens when you were actually valuable. When you were a man with purpose, with direction, with self-respect, with boundaries, when you walk away from that position, she feels something different. She feels the loss of your presence, not your attention. Your presence, there's a difference. Attention is cheap. Any man can give that. Presence is rare. It's the feeling of being around a man who knows who he is, who doesn't need her validation, who doesn't bend himself into shapes to please her, who doesn't lose himself in her emotions. That kind of presence is magnetic. And when it's gone, she notices. Not right away, but eventually, because the next guy won't have it, the next guy will be eager. He'll be available. He'll text back instantly. He'll agree with everything she says. He'll try too hard and she'll feel it. That absence of strength, that absence of groundedness, that absence of challenge. And in those moments, she'll think of you, not because she misses you, but because she misses how she felt around you. She misses the version of herself that existed when you were there. The version that had to rise up. The version that had to earn your attention. The version that felt feminine because you were masculine. That's what she feels during your absence. Not sadness, not pining, but a subtle awareness that something is missing in her new reality. And here's the uncomfortable truth. If you left because you were chasing her, if you left because she wasn't giving you what you wanted, if you left to manipulate her into coming back, she won't feel what you think she'll feel. She'll feel free because she'll sense the neediness behind your departure. She'll sense that you left to get a reaction. And that makes you weak in her eyes. Not strong, not mysterious, weak. Because strong men don't leave to prove a point. They leave because they have somewhere better to be. They leave because their mission calls them. They leave because they will not compromise their peace for anyone. That's the difference. One is strategic, the other is authentic. And women feel the difference in their bones. You can't fake outcome independence. You can't fake indifference. You can't fake having a life that matters more than her attention. She will sniff it out every single time. And when she does, your absence becomes a joke, a tactic, a game, and she'll lose respect for you even faster. So let's be clear about something. Your absence should never be a tool. It should be a consequence of your standards, a consequence of your boundaries, a consequence of your refusal to tolerate disrespect. When you remove yourself because she violated something you made clear, that's different. When you remove yourself because you won't accept breadcrumbs, that's power. When you remove yourself because you're building something that requires your full focus, that's attractive. But when you remove yourself to see if she'll chase, that's pathetic, and she feels the difference. Now let's talk about the women who do miss you, the ones who felt your value, the ones who recognized what they had. What do they feel during your absence? They feel regret. Not immediately, but over time, they start to notice the little things. How you made them feel safe, how you didn't need constant reassurance, how you had your own world and invited them into it, how you didn't tolerate games, how you were consistent, how you showed up as a man, not a boy. They notice it when the next guy doesn't have those qualities, when he's insecure, when he's needy, when he's always available, when he has no mission, when he bends to her every mood, and that's when the longing starts. Not for you as a person, but for the feeling you gave her. The feeling of being with a man who had his life together, a man who didn't need her to complete him, a man who chose her but didn't chase her. That's attractive. That's what lingers. But here's what you need to understand. Even if she feels that, even if she misses you, even if she regrets letting you go, it doesn't mean she'll come back. Because pride is a powerful thing. Because her friends told her to move on. Because she's already involved with someone else. Because she doesn't want to admit she was wrong. So don't sit around waiting for her to realize. Don't pause your life hoping she'll return. Don't make your absence about her reaction. Make your absence about your evolution. Make it about becoming the man who doesn't need anyone to validate his worth. That's the real power. Not in making her miss you, but in becoming someone who doesn't care if she does. Because when you reach that level, everything changes. You stop checking if she's watching your stories. You stop wondering if she's thinking about you. You stop crafting your life to make her jealous. You just live. You build. You grow. You focus on your purpose. And ironically, that's when you become most attractive, not just to her, to every woman who crosses your path, because you're no longer performing. You're no longer trying to prove something. You're just existing in your power. And that energy is undeniable. Let's talk about why most men fail at this. They remove themselves physically, but not emotionally. They stop texting, but keep checking her social media. They say they've moved on, but they're still thinking about her every day. They tell themselves they don't care, but they're secretly hoping she'll reach out. That's not absence. That's presence disguised as absence. And it's exhausting because you're not free. You're still tethered to her response. You're still waiting for validation. You're still giving her power over your emotional state. True absence is internal. It's emotional detachment. It's genuine indifference. It's moving forward without looking back. And you can't fake that. You can't pretend your way into it. You have to actually do the work. You have to actually build a life that excites you more than she ever did. You have to actually find purpose beyond romantic validation. That's the only way your absence has weight. Otherwise, it's just distance. And distance means nothing if your mind is still trapped. Now, here's the question you should be asking. Not what does she feel during my absence, but what do I feel during hers? Because that's the real measure. If her absence destroys you, you were too attached. If her absence bothers you more than your mission excites you, you're lost. If her absence makes you question your value, you never had self-respect to begin with. Your emotional state should not be determined by whether a woman is in your life or not. That's boyish. That's weak. That's the mindset that keeps you stuck in cycles of heartbreak and desperation. A man with purpose feels her absence, sure, but he doesn't crumble, he doesn't spiral, he doesn't lose himself. He acknowledges the loss and keeps building. He feels the discomfort and keeps moving. He respects what was but doesn't worship it. That's maturity. That's strength. That's what separates men from boys. And when you operate from that place, your absence becomes something she can't ignore. Not because you're trying to make her notice, but because you genuinely don't need her to. And that paradox is what makes you unforgettable. So, what should you do during your absence from her? Focus on yourself, not as a strategy, as a commitment. Work on your body, improve your skills, build your income, deepen your friendships, pursue your passions, strengthen your mind, become the man you've always said you'd be, not for her, for you. Because you deserve to live a life that doesn't revolve around whether someone chooses you. You deserve to wake up excited about your own journey. You deserve to feel proud of who you're becoming. And when you reach that point, her feelings during your absence become irrelevant. You're not wondering what she thinks. You're not crafting your life to make her jealous. You're not performing for an audience of one. You're just living fully. And that's the entire point. Your absence should be the catalyst for your transformation, not a tactic to win her back, not a punishment to make her suffer, but a space for you to reclaim yourself, to remember who you were before you lost yourself in her, to rebuild the parts of you that you sacrificed trying to keep her happy. Because here's the truth: if you lost yourself in the relationship, she stopped respecting you. If you made her your entire world, she felt suffocated. If you had no life outside of her, she got bored. And your absence now is your chance to reverse that, to become the man she met at the beginning, or better yet, the man you were always supposed to be. That's what she'll feel during your absence if you do it right. She'll feel the shift, she'll notice the change, she'll see you thriving, and she'll wonder how you moved on so fast. But you didn't move on fast. You just remembered who you are. And that's the most powerful thing you can do. Not for her, for yourself. So stop asking what she feels. Start asking what you're building. Stop obsessing over her reaction. Start obsessing over your growth. Stop waiting for her to come back. Start becoming someone who doesn't need her to. That's the shift. That's the power. That's how you win. Not by getting her back, but by becoming a man who no longer needs to. And if she comes back, you'll evaluate her from a position of strength, not desperation, not neediness, not scarcity. You'll decide if she fits into the life you've built, not if she'll complete it, not if she'll save you, but if she adds value to what you've already created. That's the standard. That's the frame. That's how a man operates. So here's your takeaway. Her feelings during your absence are not your concern. Your growth during your absence is her regret is not your victory. Your evolution is her return is not your goal. Your peace is. Focus on that. Build from that. Live from that. And everything else will fall into place. Subscribe to this channel if this resonated, because we're building men who don't need validation. We're building men who choose themselves. We're building men who understand their worth. Hit that subscribe button and become the man you were always meant to.